The WeTheJury.net website and store are still under construction. Please pardon any inconvenience. We thank you for your patience. Here are a few product samples we are creating. Join the American restoration to law, order, and justice for all. This presentation will cover world population, fertility, families, children, and their effects on the economy, Amazon, and McDonald's. Today's news brief and cover stories brought to you by Wonder Woman, Atomic Blonde, Lucy, Girls Trip, Their Incredible Shrinking Families, and Her Amazing Vanishing Net Worth. A record percentage of women don't have kids. Here's why that makes sense. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's current population survey, in 2014, 47.6% of women between age 15 and 44 had never had children. The census data is backed up by data from the National Center for Health Statistics. According to a recent report, in 2013 there were just 63 births for every 1,000 women between the ages of 15 and 44 in the U.S., an all-time low. Greater numbers of women are waiting longer to have children, or not having children at all. Aging America. Percentage of children in U.S. population hits record low. Is America following the footsteps of Japan, notorious for its aging and declining population? The 2010 U.S. Census shows a major drop in the percentage of children in the U.S. Death, destruction then extinction. How can the human population sustain itself under attack by so many weapons turned against us by our own short-sighted leaders? Bullets, bombs, banks, and bullies. Or bullets, needles, pills, poisoning, and Planned Parenthood. Sperm count drop could make humans extinct. Sperm counts among men from North America, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand seem to have halved in less than 40 years. Lead researcher, Dr. Levine, said he was very worried about what might happen in the future. If the trend continued, humans would become extinct. The decline rate is increasing. If we will not change the ways that we are living, and the environment, and the chemicals that we are exposed to, I am very worried about what will happen in the future. A 52.4% decline in sperm concentration, and a 59.3% decline in total sperm count in men from North America, Europe, Australia and New Zealand. The study also indicates the rate of decline among men living in these countries is continuing and possibly even increasing. The future isn't going to wait for the human species to get its act together. The future is now. If we haven't passed the event horizon already, the point of no return, then we are very close and approaching it soon. The crashing world economies are your last warnings. Just because we're being told it's an economic recovery doesn't mean the economy isn't collapsing. Long before the human species becomes extinct, the national and world economies will experience a series of localized seizures from acute anemic loss in demand for food, oil, energy, consumer goods, and services. But this is not what will be reported or televised. Instead it will be packaged and sold in the business news as dramatized corporate grocery wars between Amazon, Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger, Aldi, Lidl, and a host of other grocery players, to keep the focus off of vanishing grocery shoppers, farmers, and surplus food production. These same corporate conflicts, or wars, will also arise in industries like oil, auto, retail, health, and housing. The major conflict getting the highest press is online sales versus in-store sales. Amazon against everyone else. They're even pushing a war between the online companies. QVC just bought out Home Shopping Network to take on the Amazon giant, to fight over declining online sales. That's right, online sales volume will not be immune to the rise in shrinking families. Amazon Sears deal wipes $13 billion off Home Depot and other stocks. Shares of Home Depot and Lowe's were slammed Thursday, along with Whirlpool, after Amazon threatened to take on the appliance market in a much bigger way in a deal with Sears Holdings. Sears saw its stock rally as much as 25% Thursday, after it announced it would sell its Kenmore-branded appliances on Amazon. Stories like this are pushing the retail war theme, same as the grocery war theme that is being pushed. The business media is running these stories as a preemptive/proactive cover story to explain the coming massive losses in revenue and sales. Since they can never blame the poor performance of these companies on population contraction, then blame it on the Amazon boogeyman. No matter how bad things get, the true causes behind these company failures soon to come will remain hidden. The business media is even pushing a war cover story within the online industry itself in this next story. QVC buys Home Shopping Network in a move to challenge Amazon. QVC and Home Shopping Network, two of the best-known home shopping hubs, are merging in a $2.6 billion deal as they try to retain consumers who are rapidly shifting to internet-based retail. That would make the combined network the third biggest in the U.S. by sales, behind Amazon and Walmart. The move is a play to compete with the two largest online retailers at a time that Home Shopping Network sales are dropping. Sales in that industry have fallen 2.9% in the U.S. and 2.3% globally between 2011 and 2016. The media even admits that the performance of these online shopping giants is also struggling to grow. So how will their eventual failure be explained away? They're working on it. Jeff Bezos' fortune falls by $6 billion overnight. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' wealth has been on a wild roller coaster ride over the past 24 hours. Thursday morning, the Amazon CEO became the richest man in the world when Amazon's stock soared on earnings expectations. By noon, when Amazon stock topped $1,082 per share, Bezos' wealth soared past $92 billion, putting him past Bill Gates. But after disappointing earnings, Amazon stock plunged, and so did Bezos' net worth. Amazon stock opened at $1,011 and kept falling. His fortune fell by more than $6 billion from its peak on Thursday in recent trading. Bezos owns slightly more than 16% of Amazon. Amazon stock hit its record peak Thursday, July 27, 2017, at $1,081.71. It closed at $1,020.04, Friday, July 28, 2017. Amazon update. Amazon stock falls as profit declines 77%. So much for Jeff Bezos being the richest man in the world. Amazon stock fell 3% in after-hours trading Thursday as the company reported a June quarter profit that fell well below Wall Street estimates. Amazon posted a profit of $197 million for the quarter, a massive 77% drop from the $857 million profit it reported in the same period a year earlier. Last month, Amazon announced a blockbuster deal to buy Whole Foods for $13.7 billion. The deal is expected to be completed in the second half of this year. The company has also been investing aggressively in original video content, hardware, infrastructure for its cloud computing business and fulfillment centers in the US and abroad. Those investments have helped Amazon attract more customers to its Prime membership service and boost sales. Its revenue hit $38 billion for the quarter, up 25% from a year earlier. Amazon fell below $1,000 for the first time in weeks. The stock last closed below $1,000 on July 11th. Amazon closed the Monday, July 31st, 2017, trading day at $987.78. The stock hit its $1,082 record high last Thursday. Trump's first budget, trillions in cuts. The administration estimates that the president's budget would reduce overall spending by $3.6 trillion over the next 10 years. The trillions in shocking cuts in Donald Trump's budget explained. What's more, Trump's budget assumes an extremely unrealistic economic growth rate, 3%, above the currently projected 1.9%, due to the administration's tax plan. It appears the administration is counting on that growth both to pay for its spending in this budget and to pay for its tax cuts, meaning the budget doesn't really add up at all. President Trump's budget includes a $2 trillion math mistake. According to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, for Trump's tax cuts to pay for themselves, the economy would have to grow at 4.5% over the next 10 years. That's 2.5 times the growth rate projected by the Congressional Budget Office. So what's the most likely result of Trump's plan? The nonpartisan group projected that the tax cuts would cost the government between $3 and $7 trillion over the next decade. What adverse effect will the removal of $3 to $7 trillion have on the U.S. economy? More specifically, what effect will it have on revenues, sales, earnings, and profits on Wall Street? Companies like Amazon, Walmart, McDonald's, Kroger's, Macy's, Sears, and JCPenney are already having minor financial seizures. But the cover stories on these companies all tell of more prosperity and growth. Maybe the U.S. economy is strong enough to withstand a $3 to $7 trillion hit in federal and state spending. Some are even saying that this is what the economy needs to effectively kick the recovery into high gear. The U.S. national debt is at $20 trillion. What do we have to show for it? 60% of that was spent on the military and national security. Active duty military is presently just over 1 million troops, down from a record over 12 million active duty troops in 1945, with a U.S. population of only 140 million at the time. Where did the $20 trillion go? Compared to China and its allies, the U.S. realistically does not have a military, or anything that vaguely resembles an effective national defense against a foreign enemy that outnumbers it at least 30 to 1 in soldiers. While the U.S. leadership is fixated on doping and overdosing its potential white soldiers, gunning down its unarmed potential black soldiers, and aborting its unborn soldiers, China, North Korea, and others are still actively adding millions more soldiers to their already massive armies. The only comfort here is that China, and no one else, will invade the U.S. while it is busy and totally consumed with its own self-destruction. Our enemies are simply honoring a long-standing military courtesy that it's impolite to interrupt the enemy while it is busy imploding itself. Closed until further notice, most McDonald's restaurants in India's capital. Finding chicken McNuggets in New Delhi just got a whole lot tougher. Most McDonald's restaurants in India's capital city were shut on Thursday because their operating licenses have expired. The fast food chain's licensee in northern and eastern India took the decision to close 41 of its 53 restaurants. News of the restaurant closure was first reported by the Economic Times newspaper, which said around 1,700 employees would lose their jobs in the process. McDonald's franchise owners confirm, fast food giant facing its final days. Embattled fast food giant McDonald's is making headlines yet again. The company has just launched its much-advertised all-day breakfast program, but as that campaign rolls out, franchise owners are voicing their concerns over what may be the company's dying days. As we covered at NT Media in June, the McDonald's franchise has been shrinking for the first time in the company's over 40-year history. McDonald's announced in April that it would be closing 700 underperforming locations, but because of the company's sheer size, it has 14,300 locations in the United States alone. This was not necessarily a reduction in the size of the company, especially because it continues to open locations around the world. It still has more than double the locations of Burger King, its closest competitor. However, for the franchisees, the picture looks much worse than simply 700 stores closing down. We are in the throes of a deep depression, and nothing is changing. Probably 30% of operators are insolvent. One owner went as far as to speculate that McDonald's is literally facing its final days. Franchisees have also been complaining about the erratic nature of McDonald's corporate decision-making process. As Business Insider reports, the lack of consistent leadership from Oak Brook is frightening. We continue to jump from one failed initiative to another. They are likely referring to the company's many marketing schemes that have been implemented recently to slow the bleeding of younger customers as they choose healthier, more local options en masse. As NT Media also reported in June, though the chain has dominated the fast food market for decades, recent competition and health consciousness has challenged the popularity of its product. The growth of chains like Chipotle, which recently stopped using genetically modified ingredients, has reportedly diverted customers away from McDonald's. Additionally, the company is losing a share of its young patrons, while the rise of boutique burger chains such as Five Guys has put a dent in profits. The increased closures denote a growing shift in dietary preferences among Americans. This is consistent with recent moves by fast food chains to remove toxic chemicals from their ingredients, as well as with the exponential growth of organic, healthy alternatives. Are we seeing McDonald's final days? If the trend towards healthier alternatives to McDonald's continues, it's a very real possibility. Pitting McDonald's against Chipotle in this article is a good example of manufacturing a conflict to cover for the disappearance of McDonald's young customers. Blame it on Chipotle. Blame it on healthy lifestyles. Blame it on poor management. But never suggest that population loss may have something to do with it. Hide any connections this story has with abortion policies, vaccinations, poison water, contraception, killer food, epidemic drug overdose, and senseless gun violence. Let's continue. McDonald's could make $2 billion upfront with Chinese franchise deal. McDonald's hopes to make a deal to convert its 2,200-store Chinese empire into all-out franchising as the company looks to generate cash and growth. McDonald's sells 80% stake in Chinese business to state-owned enterprise. That makes at least two major U.S. corporate giants that are selling out to the Chinese mega dragons. Late to the game, McDonald's taps social media to boost sales. McDonald's is just now tapping into social media engagement to win back millennials and boost sales. Don't you just love the smell of desperation in the morning with your all-day breakfast menu? McDonald's to close 500 restaurants in 2016. McDonald's will shut down 500 stores this year in an effort to boost profits. The closings will likely come from poorly performing locations in the U.S., the company said in an earnings call this week. The fast food giant is already down 91 U.S. locations out of a supersized 14,259 after last year's 700-plus global closings. The company also said it intends to open 1,000 more in better locations. CEO Steve Easterbrook wants to make McDonald's a more focused operation, and investors look like they're loving it. McDonald's stock is up 30% over the past year. The restaurant's fourth quarter U.S. operating income is up 30% as well, as savings from earlier closings has been reinvested in other locations. First quarter 2017 earnings so far project a $2 billion loss over 2016, unless second quarter earnings, which have yet to be released, don't show a turnaround. This is McDonald's answer to the fast casual boom. After McDonald's missed sales estimates last year, the burger chain has been thinking of ways to get in on some of the fast casual action, and it's found its answer. McDonald's just ushered in its new Create Your Taste custom burger option. McDonald's considering $40 billion real estate investment trust spin-off. After a third year of declining sales, McDonald's could unlock $20 billion of value by placing its $40 billion real estate holdings in an investment trust. Analysts say, joining Sears and Macy's on the list of juggernauts to consider a real estate investment trust spin-off. Bet on pricier burgers pays off, sending McDonald's shares to all-time high. Revenue, $6.05 billion versus $5.96 billion expected. McDonald's reports second quarter 2017 results. For the quarter, we delivered our strongest global comparable sales and guest count results in more than 5 years, said McDonald's president and CEO Steve Easterbrook. Results for the quarter and 6 months reflected stronger operating performance. With its July 25, 2017 release of its second quarter earnings of $6.05 billion, McDonald's 2017 year-end $23.45 billion earnings projection have improved over its first quarter $22.70 billion year-end projection, cutting its projected loss from $1.9 billion to $1.2 billion. This small improvement in annual losses was enough to rally McDonald's share price to a record $159.98. This celebration, however, still does not change the fact that McDonald's is still on track to end 2017 as the fourth consecutive year with $1 billion loss. But there seems to be a lot of money out there betting that McDonald's will break its $1 billion losing streak in 2017.